Hello! 13 months! That is how long I've been living here. Well, not specifically here, but here in Cerro Gordo, California. This is a former mining town that used to be the largest producer of silver for the state. But for the past 100 years, it's sat mostly abandoned. And I moved here 13 months ago. I've been keeping busy with stuff like building renovations, mine explorations, dirt bike rides, sunset hikes, and everything in between. So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys what I've been up to for the past month. This is my 13th month living up at Cerro Gordo. And it's crazy. It's hard to believe it's been that long. You know, when I came here, I thought I'd give it a few weeks, ride out this pandemic a little bit. Then a couple of months passed. I was like, wow, this is something. It would be crazy to be here for 6 months. 6 months passed. And then the big goal of 1 year. 1 year alone in an abandoned ghost town. What type of life experience that would be. I would draw on it for the rest of my life. And now I sit here a month past that year milestone, and I kind of wonder what's next. Can I sustain this for another year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? I love it. I love it up here. I am more excited today than when I touched down 13 months ago in my Allbirds slippers and a truck that couldn't make it through the snow. Because I feel like finally the fruits of my labor are starting to be visible. Day over day, it's hard to see progress on some of these buildings, but now there's a cabin that wasn't there before. There's Lola's that was there before. There's a path to having people stay here overnight, which has been my goal from day one. And it's feasible. The American Hotel will be rebuilt. People will be able to stay there in comfort and safety, and that thing will happen. And a year ago, there was no path. So I'm more excited about all this than I ever was before. And I think what's so beautiful about Cerro Gordo is the more time I spend here, the more I realize I have to learn. Before buying the property, I read a book about the town. I was like, yeah, I have a pretty good idea what's going on. And then you come up here after a month and you're like, wow, now I really know these buildings. But after 13 months, I know I really don't know that much. There's pieces of history that you just can't get from the books. You need to hear it from people whose relatives lived up here. You need to walk these grounds and just discover different artifacts that haven't been unearthed in hundreds of years. And for me, my goal in all that is to paint a more clear picture of Cerro Gordo. And that's what I love. I love teaching what I learned. I think part of it is because growing up, both of my parents were teachers. And here, I get to actively play adventure, amateur archaeologists, and everything else. And so I'll go back into a mine, find something from 150 years ago, come home, research it as much as I can. And then my hope, my dream is for some people to come up and then I can relay that history to them. And that's just a seed, maybe I tell them a story about the dynamite box and the history of that dynamite company. Maybe that leads them to researching the company more, that leads them into the history of mining, that leads them into the history of the American West. And that's beautiful. It's exactly what I want. I hope in these coming years that I just get to learn more and more. I get to teach more and more. That would just be a dream come true. In month 13, building renovations continued. Of course. Look at this. This is Lola's. A month ago, these walls weren't here. These roof supports weren't here. This floor wasn't even done. All the wood you see is from the property. This has all been salvaged from the different areas. And I love the way this thing is coming together. All right, this is the way we get stuff done. We've got a whole team out here today. We got Dave, thank you very much for being here. Got Jim and Brett in here, working on the inside, putting up the roof. So back in the day, Lola's Palace of Pleasure was one of the brothels, one of the 4 brothels here. And when I got this place, this little crib was all that was left. And this wall was in existence, and this whole thing was leaning over about like that. And out here, it was just a pile of rubbish. But now, if you look, there's 3 rooms once again. There'll be beds, finishings. Somebody in Keeler has 1800s bathtubs and more bed frames that I can put in here.
And then I'm thinking, you know, photos on the wall, lace curtains, something red, just to give you the feel of maybe how it used to be back in the day. But it's just so satisfying even right now, just walking through these rooms, seeing them come to life, you know? And all this wood is from the property. And I love that, you know? Sometimes it's hard to see the improvements, you know, day over day or even month over month. But I think this month, looking at this, that's a huge improvement. And if this much progress is possible in 1 month, I can only imagine what's possible in a year or a decade to this beautiful place.
And this is the other major project that finally got finished this month. This is the miner's cabin. You know, a couple months ago, these walls would have fallen over in the breeze. It was just a shell of a former building. And at first I was like, you know what, I'm gonna brace it, just make sure it stays there. But then after I started doing that, I was like, you know, why not make this into a real cabin? So that took months. That ended up going to digging down below this to actually put piers, you know, creating these walls so they'll stay there for a while. You know, they're almost a foot wide with insulation in them, plywood, and then all of this wood. And all of the wood you see is original from Cerro Gordo. You know, this wood is from the 1800s. You know, even as we were putting this back up here, there's bullets, 3 of them in the wood that are from pistols from the 1800s. Just that much deck left to do, and then beautiful sights. You know, they'll be tinkering for a few weeks, you know, some finish out, and then outfitting this a little bit. And all sorts of people can have their own new memories in this and learn from it and experience these great views that, you know, that view hasn't changed very much. Well, minus a beautiful lake, that actually has changed quite a bit now that I think about it. But the mountain ranges haven't changed that much. This is why I do these projects. You know, my whole life, I've done projects online. You know, seeing something to come to life online is one thing, but seeing a building like this, you know, go from falling down to I can touch it, and now hopefully generations of people can stay in this cabin and appreciate it, and that's awesome to me. You know, that's one of my favorite feelings up here, and I hope to continue that feeling as I keep bringing back to life different buildings all around this town.
And so I guess without further ado, the last project to update on is the one that you would see right down there, and that would be the American Hotel. Here we are at the former and future hotel site of the American Hotel. And unfortunately, it looks a lot like it did months ago.
The most frustrating thing in the 13th month continues to be the rebuilding of the American Hotel. You know, that is the project above all projects. I work on all these other projects when I can't be working on that. And the issue there in the past few months has been more behind the scenes stuff. So permitting, work crew scheduling, weather, you know, you can't really pour concrete when it's gonna snow. But now that weather's cleared up and a lot of those behind the scenes issues are taken care of. So the most practical problem is still concrete. You know, getting 90 yards of concrete to a work site at 8,500 feet is difficult.
But I do have something to report. I believe we figured out the concrete situation. Somebody that watches this channel operates in mobile batch plants. And so the idea now is we're going to bring a batch plant up here, use that tailing pile you see in the distance, so that pile of rock from the mine itself. And concrete is only made up of 3 or 4 things. You have sand, gravel, cement, water, and air, of course. So I guess 5 things. But we got the majority of that stuff here. And I know a lot of you have been toying me that through the weeks and months, but I had to get the county approval and I had to get somebody that could make the concrete with those things. So that pile there from the mine, from the Union mine specifically, is gonna be mixed and then poured here as the new foundation. And I love that. I think there's a certain circle of life to that, you know, that the mine that built this town will quite literally build the town again. And so while I'm waiting for that, I'm putting together some more equipment. And one of those pieces of equipment is a concrete truck, so we can move some concrete around if we need to. And Aaron, who is a guy that helps run Panamint Springs over in Death Valley, has agreed to let us use his concrete truck as long as we can get it up here. And I'm not sure when the last time the truck was used, but he told me to bring a bunch of batteries and bring somebody that knew how to drive them. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, we're out here in Panamint, trying to diagnose if this can help solve the concrete issues at Cerro Gordo. I don't know too much about trucks, so we got Tim. Tim, everybody's hoping that you can save the day.
Well, see what we can do.
There's a battery kind of just hanging out over here.
Yeah, it's probably dried up.
Yeah.
There's like zero coolant in there.
Okay, it's a start.
So.
What's the plan?
If we put some coolant in it,
Yeah.
put some fuel in it,
Yep.
connect it up and see what happens. And then make a decision from there.
Yeah, makes sense.
Tires are not the best tires I've ever seen, but this is life in the desert.
Sick.
And you know what? The concrete truck isn't that bad. You know, it's passable. Driving it back here is gonna be a bit of a nightmare. But for me, just getting one piece of the puzzle in place, meaning a concrete truck on site, would be huge, it would be massive. You know, it would give me so much relief. Because at this point, the weather's good, the permits are in, there's no real excuse to not get this concrete pouring in the next month. And that's what I'm gonna do. Above all else in this coming 14th month will be the American Hotel. And I hope when I'm sitting here, 30 days from now, I can show you guys a little glimpse of what happened.
Let me introduce you to the next big mine exploration here at Cerro Gordo. We're on the backside of Cerro Gordo, and this mine was one of the most substantial mines in the Cerro Gordo mining district. And back in the day, what you're looking at right here used to be a 300-foot vertical shaft. And surrounding it was a shaft house. And they had a horse swim here. And a horse swim is a horse that walks around in a circle to bring up the ore. And that's how they could do it a little bit more inexpensive than having a full hoist. So this, to my knowledge, has not been explored. I've never talked to anybody who's explored it. I've never heard of anybody exploring it. And anybody I've asked says nobody's been down here. And even in the 1960s, when they did the US Geological Report, they said they did not access this because of the danger involved. Now, this right here then will be a 300-foot vertical shaft with 2 levels. And so, to get down there, I'm gonna have to put something across this and do a straight descent and ascent. And going down is never a problem. Going down this hole, I'm not too worried about that. It's the coming back up, that's the issue. So I need to practice a while going down and up a bunch of times, but I'm super excited about this. Obviously you can see some of the old building that was surrounding this shaft. If you look at all the boards, all the nails are, the original square nails from the 1800s. So, this is one of the original mines here from the heyday of Cerro Gordo, the boom times of the silver and lead in the 1800s. And so, who knows what's down there. This wood right here would be great for Lola's roof. I'm working on Lola's roof right now and I need old planks. And again, all these square nails. I'm gonna have to bring the truck over here, grab these, use them for Lola's, That was the final missing piece right now that I was waiting on. And if I can get some original 1800 planks like this. So be on the lookout. Just want to fill you guys in. That is coming soon. All right, today we got a new project.
This month, I finally put the finishing touches on something I started almost a year ago. Something that's very near and dear to my heart, a mini golf course. And growing up, golf was always a big part of my life. One of my very first jobs was working at a golf course as the cart guy who cleans them out at the end of the night and plugs them in. And that's where I made some of my best friends. I started playing golf competitively throughout middle and high school, and was probably about a scratch golfer by the time I was 16. And as I got older, the golf got less competitive, but it was always my escape. It was my way to get outdoors, enjoy the weather, and escape any of the stresses that I might have going on. But when I was up here about a year ago, I thought, you know what? It might be pretty fun to create a mini golf course.
Luckily, after cleaning out the church, there is quite a bit of scrap metal, scrap wood, doors, buckets. It's got a platform down. We're getting there. I'll map it all out here and then bring it into the mine.
I started getting all the materials ready, and that was in April or May, right around when I got appendicitis. And after I got over the appendicitis, there was dozens more important projects than some mini golf course. But I was talking to an old golfing buddy earlier this month, and it made me realize how much I missed golf, how I really wanted to connect with that childhood passion. So I became determined to finish my little mini golf course, because I think play is important. It's important in your life no matter how old you are. And for the past few months, I haven't just played too much. I've explored a lot. But there's always been a purpose behind it, or kind of some mission at hand. And so I just want somewhere to go, mess around, and reconnect with some childhood passions.
See, what I need to figure out now is exactly where the hole will go.
So I need to flatten out this area so it'll come down this way and then turn left. And the final bit of green is about 10 feet, so I need to make this area flat for about 10 feet. All right, let's do a little status update. It's been probably 6 months, maybe more since I started. So my idea is a really long hole coming up and over here, accumulating or finishing in this green, which took a very long time to build. And see, if you go up here, it's solid. You can putt. It's a little bit higher here, so you can stand up fully. So I got cut in the hole, and that would be it. Since the green is pretty much set, it's time to make my fairways. I just brought back the fairway graphs, got my tools. We are going to line these bad boys with some green carpet, have some approach shots into the green. Just making the best use of my time. Starting to look like a green. I took this and cut it down to this. So this is, I'm just gonna go through and make it tight. I got these finishing nails. And that will become the fairway. Next, I need to put like fringe around this, so green carpet around this. It's funny, when I was a kid, what I wanted to be when I grew up was a golf course architect. I used to draw golf courses during all my classes, just over and over and over. Different par 3s, par 4s, par 5s. So all I wanted to do was just design cool courses. So this isn't quite a real golf course, but here I am in a mine, something the elementary school me would have never thought. Now I'm almost done, but I'm trying to cut in the hole. Just almost there. I'm using my little Swiss Army knife. Oh! I had a blast. It's cool to get it done. I'm gonna keep working on it over the next months. I want to make it crazy, with like Ferris wheels and all these insane things. But for now, it's just a place to go back, putt, kind of relax, and just remember, some of my childhood days. Cats! No month update would be an update without a little cat and goat update. The kitties are doing just fine. Originally there was 7 of these guys that a farmer didn't want anymore. 4 of them went to LA to get vaccinated and ended up staying with the person that did that. So these days is the crew. Gordo. Cats are doing really good. They're growing fast. They are becoming much more social. Does that happen as they get older? They always just rub up against me. But I love having the cats here. Also hadn't seen a mice since they've been here, so shout out cats. The goats have a big update. The goats escaped the other day. jumped over a fence. I found them grazing.
Goats like the new cabin? What you think? How'd you get up here? Why aren't you in your home? Yep, just inspecting my work. What do you think? You a fan? Oh, you gotta get up on top.
That makes sense.
You wanna do the same, Elon? No, there's no attacking.
At first I was like, oh no, they're gonna run away. And then I realized they always came back. They always came back to the water source. So I'm wondering if I can start actually letting them free graze around the property and they'd come back each time they need water.
Hello, guys. What you guys think? Oh, good. Getting some little grass. Got some free lawnmowers in the house. That's good. Here come the goats. No, Eli, we're not playing that game. Nope. Look at that. And they're finding their way back home.
But they're doing good too. You know, I think everybody up here, myself included, is enjoying it being a little bit warmer. So look out for more free range goat grazing and for these cats, hey Gordo, to get even bigger. This month, I also celebrated a birthday, April 6th, in case you're interested. And for me, birthdays are always a period of reflection. You know, I try to sit down and think about the year. And when I think about this last year, it's crazy. I've had experiences I could have never imagined sitting down from any of my other birthdays in my life. But there's also a lot of sacrifices. You know, being up here cost me some things, you know, a relationship that I cared an awful lot about, my health, that used to be one of my main priorities, you know, interests that I used to spend a lot of time on that I don't as much anymore. So I think for me, one of my goals in this coming month and years to come is just creating a little bit more balance in my life up here, you know, spending a little bit less time alone, a little bit more time on my health, and pursuing some of these interests that I used to have, including golf. And for me, the point there is to create a more sustainable life. You know, this past year was just go, go, go. You know, let's get these projects done. Let's give it this year and then figure it out. Well, I gave it the year. Now I need to do the figuring it out part. And that's creating a more balanced life so I could sustain this lifestyle for the years or decades to come. So I'm keeping that in mind. That's not to say I'm slowing down. There's a lot of renovation projects this month. There's a lot of exploration, but it is something I'm focusing on a little bit more in these coming months. And hopefully I'll fill you guys in on how good I'm doing. This month I also followed up on a lot of mine leads that I had. These are mines that I saw off in the distance and I always wanted to explore but never really had the time. And one of these mines was at the top of the mountain just over there. And this one day Johnny came and we decided to head out and check it out.
And just like that, the exploration begins. We have to go just to basically the top of this mountain where the mine is. No idea how they even had the cars going there, but as Johnny just said, the fastest way from point A to point B is a straight line. So we're going straight up this mountain.
You know, it's a really remote mine at the top of this steep hill. And I was told by a few different people that this was a big mine back in the day.
All right, approaching this first thing that appears like a tailings pile. Oh no shit. Ha! Hey! Dynamite boxes. Alright, this is a solo expedition. Unless it's bigger than I call Johnny. Oh, this is Bobcat den. Look at all this. Yeah, bedding everywhere. Let's get out of here. Alright. So we're headed up to the main thing I wanted to see.
The mine was almost immediately a bust. You know, it only went just a little bit further than I had gone on my first trip up there, and it just stopped. And I was disappointed, but I was already up there, and I saw these beautiful cliffs in the distance that I decided I want to take some drone shots of. So I got set up there. I put the drone on one of its auto track features, which is where it kind of goes along a defined course and it's supposed to have obstacle avoidance.
So it started as a mine exploration, has once again become a drone recovery mission. DJI, I love your drones, but on auto fly, they crash themselves often. So Maybe there's something to do about that. So Johnny and I are gonna go search for the drone, which appears to be on this cliff. So yeah, it's confirmed that the drone is at the top of that. It only has 35% battery left too, so we kind of gotta make it quick. So let's go. Now we have snow to deal with too. You like crowd surfing? All right. Well, folks, I said it many times, but walking the wash never disappoints. We haven't found the drone yet. Don't get too excited. We did find a serious barrel. We came across this massive ore bucket. And this thing was huge. It was probably, 4 feet tall and 3 feet across. Damn. That's like a bucket almost. I bet there used to be like a pole you had to swing. Dang! All right, let me try to make this thing beep again. Oh, it's... It might be actually on that peak. Oh. We hear it.
It's like a little chimney. I see it.
Oh, we got a visual. All right, I think we're successful. Are the arms broken?
No, I got a propeller. The arms are...
We just lost our propeller. Easy.
Did these have legs on them?
Yeah.
They're gone.
That's fine, whatever. Folks, we found it. And we found some weird caves. Look at those caves. Woo! Yeah, look at Johnny compared to this stump of this tree. Try to wrap your arms around. It doesn't even go a fifth of the way.
Big girl.
Woo! Look at this massive tree forest we came upon. Huge! Returning to our gear, wishing I had a snowboard.
And so in the end, we found the drone, but more importantly, I found a new place to explore. I never ever would have gone up there had the drone not crashed up there. But now I've just been studying the area more on Google Maps, and it turns out there's all sorts of debris in this wash we were in if I were to go to the top. So a new adventure for this coming month is I'm gonna walk the entirety of that wash and see what other types of treasures and artifacts might be out there. The other thing I did a lot of this month was dirt bike rides. I put the most mileage on that thing since I've had it. I did my longest single ride, which was about 80 miles round trip. There's just no form of transportation like a speed bike. The way you feel the elements, the road, even the smells, it can become intoxicating. And for me, I've been wanting to take the back roads behind Cerro Gordo for a really long time, and finally this month decided to go for it. So starting at Cerro Gordo, the back road drops close to 6,000 feet in elevation, down closer to sea level. And on a bike, you feel the temperature as it's changing. The wind feels different against your face. Over Cerro Gordo's crest here, in 6 miles, you hit Death Valley National Park. And if you sneak around that, you go through this beautiful area that's just filled with these Joshua trees and old mine entrances. And over the time, I've been back there on different vehicles, and I see these mine entrances, and I always wondered, does that lead to the mine that might lead to all sorts of new information?
These are pretty cool. I just kind of took a right, and there's these old cabins out here. And obviously people have been out here shooting holes in the walls and stuff. But there's stone one over here, super cool. And I think there's a mine shaft over there. And as I looked past my bike that way, there's definitely an ore chute, so I'm gonna take my bike up that way. Obviously some people have been out here, put up a flag, a tarp to try to keep some of the moisture out of here. Somebody even poured some concrete. Yeah, broom. I like this. Somebody's kind of adopting a cabin, kind of like I did on that other one. Bunch of bullet casings everywhere. No shit. Look at this. There's some of the original floor. Oh, a guest book. Had the best life you can have every day. I like that. What is today? I have no idea. Memento Mori. Brent. Come visit. This is awesome, you know, I love just dirt biking around, finding stuff. It feels adventurous, you know, it feels like what I should be doing. So let's keep going, see what else is out there. But this is pretty sweet. Well, this is cool. Back here in this wash, there's definitely a mine up there. A lot of equipment. Let's head up, see what it's all about. You know what this probably was, given its depths and this door. It's probably a powder room. This is a do not go into this mine, it has been barred off situation. Looks like the same thing up here. As you get to kind of one of the main shafts. Looks like a beautiful one though. I'll be curious to know what it's all about.
And out there, you're pretty much on your own. I didn't see another human the entirety of my ride, which allowed me to just enjoy the nature around me. I started thinking about how important being in nature has become to me since I moved to Cerro Gordo, and all the different ways I try to get myself into nature, you know, whether it's on these hikes or on my razor or on a dirt bike. You know, I found ways to enjoy nature in a lot of different formats. You know, I think reconnecting with nature is something that I've really benefited from this year. It's changed the way I live and think and feel. You know, we came from nature, and it's so important to get back out there and be part of it. It was one of the biggest things missing from my life when I was living in a city. Nature just forces you to experience awe, to be humbled, to put your life and the situations within your life in perspective. You know, it's not an easy thing to do when you're living in the city, but out here, the nature doesn't really leave you a choice. It also reminds you of the beauty all around you. You know, every day I get to walk in the shadows of some of the most beautiful mountains in the world. Sit and look at this vast desert. Watch the sun hit the Joshua trees in just the right way. Chase wild horses as they run along a stream. I mean, how can I ruminate on what's wrong with life in a setting like that? It's impossible. It breaks you out of whatever funk you might be in. To hear the wind rushing through the mountains or bending through the trees, to hear the birds chirping, you know, or even the shale rock sliding below your feet. That complete immersion in the outdoors. Time in nature isn't a nice to have, it's a must have. It isn't something that you make time for if you can. You make time for your other things if you can. I truly think it's that important.